It'll send out a good message to them other lightweights, top of the division. But for me, getting the win here is going to put me in line to fight them guys, and that's what I want. That's the sort of fights that I want to be putting myself in line for. So it's crucial to get a good win this weekend, and things will take off from there.
Yeah, sure. I think for a long while in this camp, you're maybe preparing for a Ricky Burns fight, but that didn't happen for one reason or another. The late change of opponent, has it been much of an adaptation in training?
Do you know what? No, not really. For me, it was a bit of a late change. So for me, it's just about being fit, coming in. I just need to be fit and ready getting into the fight. I can adapt as the fight goes on. I've no problem with that. Like.
Yeah, you don't do boring in your fights anyway. It's very much a seek and destroy. You're going in against a Mexican guy with a massive opportunity in front of him too. You expect fireworks in this?
Absolutely. Listen, these Mexicans, they're known for their toughness. They bring it. They've been over here and they've caused an uproar a few times. But for me, I'm fit. I'm ready. I'm really focused. I know what this fight does for me. I know what lies ahead of getting the win here. So I'm very focused and I'm confident of getting the win on Saturday.
Yeah, you don't get paid for overtime in this game, but the last fight against Josh Arroyo was over very quick. We should like maybe a couple of rounds actually to show them what you can do in such a big stage.
Well, listen, do you know what? If they went that quick, things would be a heck of a lot easier. But it's just go out. I'll let the hands go. I'll hit them. I'll hurt them. And if they go that bit quicker, well and good.
Grand stuff, James. Let the other boys here. Thanks a million. Best
Cheers,
luck.
David.
Andy, did you want to jump in, mate?
Yeah, cheers. How you going, James?
Andy, how's it going, mate?
Good, mate, thanks. David just mentioned there, since you stepped up to lightweight, 6 out of 6 and all early. Do you feel as if you've improved, in each one? As fight by fight, you've improved?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm improving fight by fight, camp by camp. It's also the work that's going on behind the scenes throughout the camp and sparring and stuff where I'm learning. We've had a heck of a lot of sparring. This has been a long camp. We've more or less been in camp from, say, just after New Year. So, yeah, definitely we're improving all the time.
Brilliant. And you've been at world title level before. It didn't work out for you that night. I mean, tell me what you learned from that and what you'll bring into this fight.
You know what? For the it was more a factor of weight. The last time round, that's all I can really answer on that question is not to kill myself to do the weight. Whenever I did do the weight, then it didn't stand by me on my performance. But from then, obviously, fight by fight, camp by camp, I've been improving all the time.
Mm-hmm. So if you're improving all the time, we haven't seen the best of you yet. Then this could be, the best Tennyson we've seen yet. Then
absolutely, listen, in a fight, if I need to switch things up a bit. Box, move, get defense, I can do it. But everything from what I've been doing so far has been working. So, long may I continue.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, James. Best
Cheers.
of luck.
Thanks, Andy. Ed from RT Sport.
So, how's it going?
All right, man. How's it going, Ed?
Good. Come here, listen. I suppose I just want to ask you about your reputation as an entertainer and as a knockout artist, I suppose. We see with a lot of fighters, as they go up the levels, sometimes they have to hold back a bit on their style to work on to look after the defense a bit more. How do you find, going up the levels? Are you working more on defense? Are you allowing is your style going to remain as is, do you think? Would you really have to be a bit more wary about coming up against better and bigger punchers?
Of course, obviously whenever you're coming up the levels, you're moving up the ranks, your opposition is going to get bigger and better. You have to be a bit more careful. You have to be a bit more defensive and stuff. That's things we're working on behind the scenes, and as the fights progress and we move up, it's things we'll have to bring into play,
And then in terms of, with your reputation, it brings opportunities because people want to see you fight and the promoters want to show you on their cards. So that must be a great thing to have. And I suppose you're not going to change that style. You're always going to want to entertain. Is that the case?
Of course, listen, if I can go out, entertain and get the win while doing so, I'll do just that. But, it can't always go like that. Not every fight's going to be like that. Some fights you're going to have to switch it up. You're going to have to box different. You just take it fight by fight, really.
And just a question from Mark, if he's there. wouldn't want to ask James about looking beyond this fight, but just in terms of yourself, how does this fight rank in terms of the other world belts, and what opportunities would come with a victory on Saturday night?
That's a brilliant question, Ed. What it is, at the very start, as I say, one of the guys asked there, we were meant to be fighting Ricky Burns. It's no secret, right? So we went through it, and it fell apart, and we've more or less been everywhere. Now, this kid was number 50 in the ratings, so he just made it in as like an opponent for James Tennyson. Now, he's very, very, he's very unknown quantity to everybody. There's plenty on him online, but they're all the good fights. Now, in terms of what it'll do for James and boxing and belts and all that, at this present time, like James, I'll give you a classic example. James Tennyson fought an eliminator for the WBA world title. He was ranked number 9 and he fought the number 7. He went into number 7 after that fight. We were hoping for a number 2 or number 3 slot. But the very next month, he was pushed out to number 9 again, and 2 guys that hadn't fought since he had fought were installed in front of him. So where's the brevity in that? Now, the WBA, for a classic example, have a regular champion, an interim champion, a super champion. They have every champion in the book. So whenever we were offered this opportunity from Eddie, and it's the same with all the governing bodies, he did say, well, it's not as big a name as the other titles, but at this present time, they're holding fire. They've only one champion. And if you can pull this off, you'll be the IBO world champion. And that's what we can take from. Yes, it's a key to the door for bigger fights for James Tennyson. But, in our eyes, it's classed as an IBO world lightweight title. And we're going to take it all day long. Because if you ask any promoter or anybody that's worked as hard as James Tennyson, any boxer, would they be interested in becoming or fighting for an IBO world title? It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, every kid, every boxer, right? They would all, even Carl Frampton, if he had a chance there to be a 3-weight world champion and that was on top of it, he would take it. Everybody would take that. So, in terms of brevity, it's really about the fights and the good fights. So James Tennyson, we don't know what he's fighting on Saturday night. We'll soon find out. And, we believe he's class above, all these lightweights, and he's actually entitled to a big fight. He's seen Linares ripped from under him and Devin Haney get that. Another thing I want to say, sorry to go on here, but if you go on and on, all these guys, these what is it called, the Fab Four? There's not one of them has fought anybody, in a long time, distinctively anywhere near their age. They're all being matched against guys that are 34 to 38 onwards. You know what I mean? There's none of them fighting an up-and-coming young contender like James Tennyson. And James Tennyson is exactly that. He's 27 years of age. He's fresh as a daisy. And as he said himself, he's learning every fight. So, yeah, we'll take that IBO world title, and hopefully it is key to unification fights in anybody. And the sign off on that again, sorry to go on, because I don't really get the opportunity to talk like this, but I'm talking from the heart. The thing is, this kid has worked his socks off, and he's maybe not a mouthpiece and talking what he can do. Like Golovkin's not, you never hear Golovkin run about. I know he's not a great speaker anyway, but what he does in the ring is what he's getting paid for. And that's what people are tuning in to watch. They want to see action, not somebody running neck a fight because they're in the home corner. You're going to see a really good fight on Saturday night, as always. And that's why he's a matchroom fighter.
Good stuff. Listen, best of luck for Saturday.
Thanks very much.
Okay, got Wingy Boxing.
James, how are you?
How's it going, boy?
Not too bad, not too bad. When you win your fight, or should I say, when you won your last fight and you're standing there next to Eddie Hearn and he's saying, I want the country to get behind him, I want everybody to get behind him, everybody to get behind him, everybody get behind him, and you're just standing there. What's going through your mind? Are you thinking, right, this is it, this is a lot of pressure? Because you seem like a very cool-headed guy. Do you like when Eddie sort of puts that focus on you? Because there's a lot of casuals obviously watching who may not know that much about you at this sort of level. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Yeah,
I get what you mean. No pressure. I live for boxing. I love it. For me, you know, I like that sort of exposure. You know, it's helping build me up, and that's what I want. You know, I want to be built up right and be able to pack out stadiums. You know, and that's what I'm working towards. And you know, Ali giving me that sort of exposure is going to help me achieve that.
How do you remain grounded when you're in the ring, when you're coming off a run of so many knockouts, and then you will go into the next fight sort of obviously looking to get the knockout, but are you grounded enough that if that doesn't happen, do you understand what I'm saying? You're able to adjust and adapt. In other words, you're not going in there just thinking about that. Because I had a similar chat to Lewis Ritson quite a while ago in a similar thing, because he was coming up, getting all these knockouts, and I said, do you remain grounded? How do you?
Yeah, you know, listen, I'm very grounded, you know, I don't get too ahead of myself, especially when it comes to boxing. You know, I know not every fight's going to be a knockout. Not every fight you're going to blow your guy out of the water. You know, you prepare in training camp. You prepare for a 12-round fight. And if you get to win any sooner, you know, it's a bonus.
Best fight showing everything that you've got with James Tennyson. What would you recommend people to look at so far? All the aspects of you as a fighter. So
far, the best fight? You know what? I would actually say maybe the Martin J. Ward fight. You know, he was picking away at me at will, dropped me. He looked like he was completely controlling the fight, turned it around, became the new Commonwealth and European champion. And off the back of that fight, I went on to fight for the world title.
Excellent. Right, I'll let you go. Thank you for giving me your time, brother.
Thank you, bud. Cheers.
Thanks, Wingy. If you go to Joe from Seconds Out, please.
Hi, Matt. How are you? Hi, mate. How's it going?
Hi, bud. How's things?
Yeah, good, thank you. So I know it's just been mentioned that there's the Fab Four, we'll call it, in your division. Do you think that's going to make it more difficult to get to a world title because it's sort of owned by these top guys?
No, not really. You know, obviously this weekend I'm fighting for the IBO World Lightweight title. You know, it's a title that them guys don't have. So, you know, winning this, it's going to put me in line to fight with them guys. You know, it's a world title that they don't have. So I'm assuming winning that's going to dangle a cat in front of them. You know, it's an opportunity for them to become unified world champions. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to set me up with a big fight.
And I know you and Devin Haney are both signed with Matt Troom. Obviously, he's fighting Jorge Linares, who you could have been fighting. Would you take either of them, or would you take Linares if he lost? Are you looking more for the winner?
You know, do you know what? I would love to fight the winner. You know, get the win on Saturday night, win the IBO World Lightweight title, and you know, it's a fight that's very easily made. You know, we're both under matchroom boxing. We could unify. You know, it'd be like double or nothing. You know, winner takes all. So it would be great.
And I know you've obviously been training over in Ireland. The McKenna brothers are in America at the moment. But have you had a chance to spar them before? Aaron and
yeah,
Stephen?
I've done quite a bit of work with McKenna's from they were actually young. I can remember once upon a time I was slightly bigger than them. And then a camp later, I was sparring with them and they were head and shoulders bigger than me. And I was saying, what's going on here? But they're two tough lads. I tell you what, them boys are doing a hell of a job. Big respect to their father too, who puts great work in with them. They're doing well.
Best of luck, mate. Look forward to watching the fight Saturday.
Thank you, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Joe. If you go to Ames from Boxing News TV next, please.
Ames here from Boxing News TV. I just wanted to ask a quick follow-up to what Mark was saying earlier, but to you, James, about like the debate within the boxing community whether the IBO world title holders are seen as legitimate world title holders. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think it's fair for the boxing public to not if they don't recognise that world title?
Do you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion towards it. For me, you know, this is my big opportunity. You know, I've worked 20 years of my life to get me to this point. Obviously, I fought for the IBF or the IBF world title, and I fell short. So, you know, this is my big opportunity. It's also going to put me in line to fight for more world titles. You know, there's possible unification fights out there. So for me, you know, it's my big opportunity. People, like I say, people are entitled to their opinion, but for me, this is something big.
And can I just ask you what it would mean to you if you were to capture that world title? Is it kind of the culmination of your career to date?
It would be huge. You know, for me, you know, it's my biggest achievement to date, like you say. So, huge. You know, this fight means a lot to me. It means everything to me to win this fight.
wish you all the best at the weekend, James. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more questions?
Can I
Any
ask?
more questions before we let James go?
Can I ask Tony Dunlop one?
Yeah, crack on, mate.
Tony.
Yes, Andy. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Tony, can you just tell me a wee bit about James's preparation? I mean, how you think he's looking and how confident you are that he'll win Saturday night?
Well, someone just asked a question, Andy, about taking like a knockout for granted. No, like he's knocked his last 6 opponents out, and no, like, but every one of them fights, James is trained for 12 rounds. So he's ready for a 12-round war, and he's 100%. And every win that he's got, the last 6 wins, he's been congratulated on the 6 wins. And after the fight, I've always said, "You think I was good? We'd see the next one." So every fight is improving. Every fight's improving, and he's well prepared for this fight. This Mexican comes forward. He is a puncher, as his record suggests, and he comes forward until the mincing machine. He'll be going. Tennyson at the minute is really at the best condition he's ever been in, and I predict a knockout here in about 7 rounds. So this guy's real tough, big puncher, Mexican, but he's not tough enough. And you'll find that out on the night.
Brilliant. James, like when he comes back from a win, say the Gavin win comes back, Joshua Reddy just resets and then goes on to the next target. You don't have to go chasing him to train or whatever.
No, James basically has been training all year round for the last 3 years. He hasn't really stopped. After a fight, he would take about 5 days off. He hasn't stopped. And we don't go out all the time. We start back easy. So, like, nobody's in a better condition than James Tennyson. No one, and he hasn't. As far as that chasing after him is concerned, I don't have to chase after. I don't have to tell him to do anything. He knows exactly what he's doing. I'm in the background and coming along with him. And to be honest with you, he doesn't shortchange himself. He gives everything 100%. He knows what's at stake. He's at this game from he's 7 years of age. Has always been his ambition to win a world title. And he's fighting for a first world title on Saturday night, and he's going to win it. And as far as his talking's concerned, anybody I've talked to about James Tennyson giving interviews, I've always elaborated on him being down to earth and very they really like the way he's been speaking and the way he's down to earth and doesn't bum and blow about anything. So I think the way he's speaking is brilliant, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Tony.
And